Hey everybody, welcome back to Tangent Plant. I'm coming to you live from my passenger seat at a truck stop in Gilman, Illinois, and because I didn't get to go home this weekend. So if the audio and the video sucks dick and balls, it's because I'm doing it on my cell phone and not my computer. So
Fair. That's Colton. I'm Devin. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Before we really get into it, I do want to do one thing. I do want to, which Colton is going to giggle and wonder why I'm doing this. But in the last video, I cursed and said some wild things, and it was brought to my attention. And I do want to apologize for being so vulgar. Sometimes when I get in the heat of the moment of the conversation, I say wild things, and I need to be more thoughtful of that. Doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and be all like, well, that's not right. I don't care if people cuss around me. I just need to be better about it. And so, with that being said, that's all. Colton, how is your week? How are your travels? What is it like being on the road right now?
well, I will say that this week has been the best week I've had in a while. I unloaded in Columbia City, Indiana, Monday. Hauled balls over to Chicago, reloaded, took that down to Houston, Texas, unloaded, reloaded in Pollock, Louisiana, delivered that in Milan, Tennessee, reloaded in Blytheville, Arkansas, delivered that load to Birmingham, Alabama, reloaded in Belk, Alabama, and this load, and which is what I have on now, a load of lumber going up to Chicago area for Monday delivery. So I'm sitting here in Gilman, Illinois, on my way up to Chicago. I got shut down today after being on duty for getting fuel, finding a parking spot, and doing my post trip inspection. I had 4 minutes left on my 70-hour clock.
Bam.
So we was running. After I get unloaded on Monday morning, I'll have over 3,000 miles this week.
Nice.
So this has been a really good week for me.
That's awesome.
I stopped on my way down to Houston. I stopped at a Pilot Flying J in Lufkin, Texas. I don't know if you heard that vibration. I'm going to turn my phone on silent. So I just got a notification. So anyway, I stopped in Lufkin, Texas at a Pilot or a Flying J, one of the two. It's the same thing. And they had this restaurant attached to it called Lone Star Charlie's Family Restaurant. And I don't know if we have any followers from down around that area, but I'll tell you, that was damn good eating. I had an omelet, a healthy choice omelet. It was 3 eggs, hot chicken, peppers, and Swiss cheese is all it was. Real damn good. And home fries, best home fries I've ever had. They were like tater cakes, little bitty tater cakes. They were crispy on the outside and soft and mushy on the inside. I don't know how they did it, but they were real damn good. And she asked me if I wanted toast or biscuits. And I said, I want biscuits. And so, again, best biscuits I've ever had in my life. I don't know how anybody makes them any other way. I don't know how they made them, but they were the best biscuits I've ever had. They were like cat's head biscuits, big old round suckers. And the two that I had were still connected in the middle, and it looked like in the shape they were in, like they had them in a circle in a cast iron skillet. And I got a side of gravy with it, which kind of negates the healthy choice omelet. But the biscuits were better than the freaking gravy. Those the best biscuits I ever had. They were crispy on the out. It was like the same. I don't know how they did it. It was the same as the home fries. It was real crispy on the outside, crunchy on the outside, and just soft and fluffy and dense all at the same time on the inside. They were delicious. I wish I could have had more of them, but I figured that would probably cost me extra. And so while I was there, an old man, probably he looked to be about 85, walked in by himself, sat down at a table, and the waitress come up to him, said, "Hey, how are you?" And mind you, he was a regular. He sat down at a table that already had 4 glasses of water sitting on it. And she's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I heard him say, "Well, I lost my wife yesterday." And so she stood there, gave him a big hug, and stood there and held his hand for a couple minutes while he cried to her about it. Oh, it was just gut wrenching. I was like, damn, that's a hell of a way to start my day.
Yeah.
Sit here and listen to him lose his wife of probably 40 years, 50 years, you know? And I tried paying for his breakfast. When it come time for me to pay my bill, I asked the waitress, I said, did I hear him right? Did he say that he lost his wife? She's like, yeah, he lost her yesterday. Long story short, she fell and cracked her head and had just had horrible complications for like the last 2 or 3 months. And it, she finally gave out. But I was like, you know what? I said, has he ordered yet? I'd like to pay for his breakfast. And I said, whatever he gets, whatever it is, I'd like to pay for it. He don't need to be paying for nothing right now. And she was like, oh, honey, bless your heart. She said, he's sitting here waiting on his friends. There's 2 or 3 more that show up every morning. One of them will pay for his breakfast, and they'll sit here for like an hour, drink their coffee, and then they'll order, and then they'll sit here for another 2 or 3 hours, and then they'll all go home. It'll be lunchtime before they're home. Mind you, it was 6:45 in the morning at this time. And so I'm like, well, all right, I guess, karma, remember this. I offered. She told me no.
Right.
And so I was half tempted to walk on over because it was attached to the Flying J. So I was half tempted just to go on over to the ATM and grab $20 out of the ATM and just hand it to her and say, here, pay for that man's breakfast. But I was already back out to my truck and fixing to leave. I was like, it's all right. So then I had breakfast and that was Tuesday, I think. Yeah, I was still on my way down to Houston. And they had dinner tonight at a place called Monocle's Pizza and something family restaurant. The shape my gallbladder's in. I was just like, oh, hang in there, little buddy. You got some work to do.
Yeah.
'Cause I got to order a mozzarella sticks. And then a bowl of cheese tortellini with extra cheese on top and 3 meatballs and breadsticks for dinner. And the waitress, she asked me, have you ever been here before? I said, no, it's my first time. Because I was looking at the sandwiches because I'm a big fan of just hot ham and cheese sandwiches. And she says, well, I don't know what you're looking at, but we're real well known for our pizza and our pasta. She's like, our pasta is really good. I was like, oh, well, I said, I was either looking at like a ham and cheese sandwich or this cheese tortellini. She's like, I would get the cheese tortellini. And so I did. That was real damn good too. The cheese was weird, but like on top, the part that they melted in, that was weird. But the rest of it was really damn good. And the garlic butter and salt that they put on the breadsticks was like it was real damn good. Uh but like so on my way from Alabama yesterday, coming up here, I passed a middle school or a high school, and their name is like the Lakeview or Lakeside Lakers or something. And I was like, what a freaking dog shit name, how unimaginative. And so I was like, I wonder how many other schools just have stupid names for their mascots and whatnot. So I Googled it just to see and come up this article of America's 14 strangest mascots in high school sports. Some of these are real damn stupid. So anyway, here's the list of 14 stupid school names. Blooming Prairie, Minnesota is the Awesome Blossoms.
Okay.
Mount Clemens, Michigan is the Battle and Bathers. Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania is the Bubblers.
Okay.
You imagine their freaking battle cry?
Let's go Bubblers.
So here's, yeah. So this one, Robstown, Texas. Robstown, Texas is the Cotton Pickers.
I mean,
It's pretty prominent down there, so I get it. But also,
yeah.
and then so Yuma, Arizona, they're the Yuma Criminals. This one, yeah, this one's probably my favorite. Frankfort, Indiana, they're the Frankfurt Hot Dogs.
That's fucking gay, dude. That's so gay.
So Tennessee is they're just feet,
Someone's got a real Bigfoot thing.
just web feet.
Someone did that as a joke.
Aniak, Alaska.
Someone did that as a joke.
Then and then a handful of people voted on it and they decided, yeah, you know what, that's definitely not sexual.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And then Aniak, I'm probably saying that wrong. Aniak, Alaska, they're the half breeds.
Yeah, so I've heard of this. They play like they have a football team, I'm almost positive, and they play like their field is like right next to the ocean. Like they don't play very many teams.
Oh,
I've heard of these guys. It's actually a really pretty setting, but the reason why they do that is because they're embracing like a stereotype. And so because a lot of them were like mixed and it was like used as like a
yeah.
derogatory term. So they just use it as their name for their school to like try to flip it, in a way. And
Little reverse psychology.
yeah,
Yeah, you know what? It's actually pretty cool to be a half
yeah,
breed.
it's really neat.
It's even better than being a regular person.
Right. But like I kind of guess like these names probably were made as far as like the bubblers. Those names were probably based
Yeah,
off because they live probably near hot springs, I'm assuming. And so they got their names, or like the blossoms
maybe
probably live their probably main thing at the time, or like agricultural commodity was probably like some kind of flowers or something. And so they
might have been.
they named that. Like, when you do like the Frankfurt hot dogs, that's lazy. The web feet thing, someone's got a fetish.
Nah, that one's fun.
No, it's not
Frankfurt hot
fun.
dogs.
Yeah, that's
That's
not
fun.
fun. That's not
That's
fun.
fun.
There's
Yeah, it
no,
is.
there's not. There's no
I'd
intimidation.
love to be a hot dog. I would love to be the freaking mascot running around in a big hot dog suit.
You'd want to be the big weenie, wouldn't you?
Well, so the Frankfurt hot dogs, that's their mascot.
That's still
It's not
it's a
even.
wiener dog.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a wiener dog.
But he's angry. He's hot.
Yeah.
Arr,
Yeah, but
angry.
nobody thinks about that. Nobody thinks when you hear Frankfurt hot dogs.
Yeah. So then I don't know what even this is, but it's Cary, North Carolina. They're the Imps, IMPS.
Amps.
And it's this little green demon fella.
Oh, he's from
It says this one should be a big hit with the Game of Thrones fans.
No. That's gay as well.
So Waters Meet High School in Michigan, they're the Nimrods.
Okay, well, Nimrod, it wasn't like a derogatory term. Nimrod was a king in the Bible at one point. And I can't remember how that got started, like what he did for it to be a thing. But now you're like, if you're dumb, what a Nimrod, So
Yeah.
that's funny.
Well, he must have done something real stupid then,
I can't remember what he did.
because sayings like that don't come from nowhere.
Or someone just really hated him and it just stuck for thousands
Centralia.
of years.
Yeah, probably. Centralia High School in Illinois are the Orphans.
Like,
The Centralia Orphans. Cairo, Georgia, they're the syrup makers. Well, I mean, down in that area, they have a shitload of pine trees, so that makes more sense. Grimsley, North Carolina, they're the Whirlies. So it says, so not a tornado, a whirly. Just that's their mascot. It's a tornado, but they call it they're the Whirlies.
oh, okay.
The Polka, West Virginia, they're the Dots, the polka dots.
How gay.
And that's the last one. That's according to footballscoop.com. That's America's 14 strangest mascots in high school sports.
So I want to pivot a little bit, which first of all, I'm glad you did that because that was very entertaining. And I had no idea about any of those school names. So, and some of those have to either be really old or someone's just a big douchebag.
So with that, let us know down in the comments if your school has a stupid name or a stupid mascot.
Yes.
Because I'd love to hear it, because that was really entertaining.
I would just, there needs to be a mascot of like a giant condom, like a used one.
Because like my school, we're the Hicksville Aces. So like at one time, I don't know what our mascot is now, but back when I was in school, it was the Ace Man, and it was just a kid that run around in a big foam like bodysuit of a ace of spades or something. I think it was.
Nice. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. The condom joke didn't stick. You just went over it, so
I didn't hear. I guess you broke up. I didn't hear that part.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's been said. I'm gonna leave it in and make it seem like you just totally went over my joke. So
That's fine. We
yeah,
can do that.
yeah, it's okay. Forget me.
Make me look like a piece of shit on purpose. I didn't sound like my wife.
Oh, you take that back, you fucking bastard. You don't call me no woman.
No, you just apologized to whoever you apologized to about being vulgar and mean, and now you just called me a bastard. How dare you?
That is a fatherless child. That is not a vulgar
Yeah, but
word.
I know my dad.
Okay.
I know my dad.
Okay. So you say.
So
I've never met him, so I don't know that. So I want to pivot.
got me
Yeah,
there.
got it. Gotcha.
I bet you do. You look like a pivot man.
Yeah, well, you look like a pervert. So how about that? Another P word.
Okay, pivot man.
Yeah. All right, perv. Which one sounds worse? Perv.
I think I'd rather be a perv
No,
than a
I
pivot
can
man.
pivot. I
At
pivot
least I'm
well.
not. Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
I bet you do
I
pivot
don't
well,
think you know
surrounded by
what pivot
dudes.
means. I feel like you don't know what it means.
Yeah, apparently you don't know what a pivot man is.
I don't know what a pivot was. Someone that pivots well, like in basketball, when you move and you pivot.
No, you're gonna have to Urban Dictionary what a pivot man is because we're not talking about the same thing.
Okay, well, this is so gay. I'm gonna look it up right
Yeah,
now.
it's funny because a pivot man is pretty gay. You look that up.
I am right now. Urban Dictionary. Quarter Urban Dictionary, store merchandise. A pivot man is defined as a person at the center of attention in a circle jerk, often depicted
Yep,
as being on their knees and moving around to service others in the group. First of all, what's really gay is that you know what a pivot man is. I had no
I've never
idea.
been one though.
I but that's the thing is like I didn't know that. So you knew that though.
They probably called it something different back in your day.
A whore. That was it's kind of what they were called, but sure. I mean, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, pivot time. Yeah. Man, I'm gonna have to delete that after just saying talking about being vulgar. See, I gotta really think about what I say. So what's real current right now is so they released a bunch of documents on UFOs and all this stuff. And my sons and my cousin and I were talking about this today. And a lot of people take this point, and here's the thing. I don't think aliens come from outer space. I don't think they come from a different galaxy and travel through space to here. I think it's a dimensional thing. I think humans can only see in the third dimension. There's so many other things going around
Yeah,
us. I think it is also spiritual. I think it could be in some form demonic just because of like the fallen angel stuff, the technology that they could and could not have. Well, the could not part, meh. But what are your thoughts on aliens?
I was watching a thing the other day that the guy was basically saying that aliens, same thing. They're not like interstellar super intelligent beings. He was like, there's a pretty good chance that they're just demons and they're just here walking the earth among us. And so the thing that convinced me the most, and this is all seventh hand information, but he was saying from a lot of the readings or whatever of alien encounters that people have had when they proclaimed the name of Jesus Christ, whatever encounter they were having ceased immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
And
ahead. Sorry.
like people that got people that would get abducted, like full on, like laying on a bed, looking up, seeing beings over them, they would, proclaim the name of Jesus and would immediately be back on earth, be back where they were.
Oh, for sure. Hang on.
And I don't think that aliens are the little brown guys or the little brown guys, little
Oh,
green guys
wow. Okay.
with big heads, big black eyes. I think they're just ugly and nasty looking, like in Signs, where they're just kind of gray and ugly and kind of mangled looking.
Well, so when I think about stuff like this, I try to look biblically on stuff. And this is what I say. If you go to Revelation, well, you go to Genesis, but Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 through 12, it talks about the battle between Satan and Michael, the angel. Well, Satan and his
Mm-hmm.
angels.
The
And
archangel.
and it says that he was there. There was nowhere else to go. He couldn't go to heaven, couldn't stay in heaven. So he fell to the earth like a bolt of lightning. And then if you connect that to Genesis 6, I don't think they were always like creepy creatures. I don't think humans would want to sleep with them. I think that they, over time, maybe took that form. But I think it is a biblical thing. I think that just like you can reference the book of Enoch, which is not canon. I want everybody to know that it's not canon. Oh, dude, it's so, dude, I'm not lying. For the first 25 minutes of this podcast, you've been so grainy. Everything you said, like it's been real. What is it? Like you would talk and I could hear you talk now, but then I would see your mouth move. But every time it's
Hmm.
done that in the podcast so far, when I edit it, everything's good. So I think that will be okay. But in the book of Enoch, it talks about
Yeah,
how
you've looked like shit like this entire time.
I'm glad it's equal on both sides then. But I'm glad it's good.
Hey, I look like shit in person too. I've been living out of this truck
It is not
for over a week now. So,
It's not canon, but what I would suggest you do, which you're not going to do because I've sent you podcasts so you won't listen to, but you could go to Spotify or YouTube, and I would look up the first book of Enoch if I were you. It is a
mhm.
very interesting book to listen to. Again, not canon. It is in Ethiopia. The book of Enoch is in the Bible there, the Ethiopian Bible, but they still have the Apocrypha in there. The book of Enoch talks about how the Watchers came down and how they gave us technologies and stuff. And I think it was the same as so like there's a conspiracy out there that when Eisenhower was president, that we had meetings with these beings, and one looked like humans, and the other ones were called the Greys. I believe someone's going to probably comment, but um, and there was two deals on the table. The ones that were humans were like, there'll be peace on Earth, but you have to give us all your weapons and all this stuff. And we're like, we're definitely not doing that. And the other one's like,
Yeah, you
we'll
go lick my butt.
we'll chill and leave you guys alone, but let us like just experiment on people. Like let us just take a couple of people here and there. And so that was kind of the deal that was made. And then the big one was is that if you look at these documents now, they've said out that during World War II or after, they found some crafts that the Nazis had that kind of put us on to some stuff. And if anybody's interested, I mean, you can always listen to Bob Lazar. There's always a lot of controversy. A lot of people say he lied and that he did not go to MIT and all this stuff. But Bob Lazar's podcast, he's done a couple with Joe Rogan. They actually just did a movie that used a lot of AI, but they just did a movie about him. That's on Amazon. They're talking about movies real quick. This is going to be a side shift, but Christopher Nolan did Homer's Odyssey, has Matt Damon in it. And I was really excited about this movie. And then I've heard that like it's not as great as like what it was initially supposed to be. So I'm going to leave that up to myself to see what I think about this. But Travis Scott's in it.
Mm,
So that's and the rumor is, so you remember the movie my Juno back in the day about that pregnant chick? Okay,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
how that
yep,
person
yep, yep.
transitioned? She's a dude now,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Whatever
whatever her name is.
its name is.
She's supposed to be, or he's whatever is supposed to be Achilles, which if that's so, pisses me off. Achilles was a warrior. I don't know if you remember the movie Troy with
Yeah.
Brad Pitt. You
Hmm.
can't take that and then give it to this whatever. And it just things
This little tranny twink.
yeah, but I don't believe they helped with, I don't believe aliens built the pyramids. Maybe some form of technology or something was given, but the way I see about it is like I think it's going to be used. If you Warner von Braun talked about this about the government, like their last ditch effort was aliens. Like if they were going to try to do something, that would be the thing. And it's like if you want to get into some
Yeah,
weird stuff, Warner von Braun's weird. Like there was a joke back in the day because of Operation Paperclip where they brought a bunch of Nazi scientists to the United States after World War II that
yeah,
if you walked into NASA in like the 1960s and 70s and walked into like their main room or something was like Heil Hitler, that you see how many people stand up and say it back because it was just full of Nazis, which
that's awesome.
a lot of them surrendered to us, and then some went
Yeah,
to the Russians. But like a lot of people didn't want to go to the Russians because the Russians were like not great, and they were worried about how they're going to be treated. They know the U.S. would probably give them a better deal. So, but a lot of those scientists, I mean, did things too. So it's like it's the same. If when it comes down to like history or just the victors, I watched the movie called Nuremberg, and I think it was Goebbels. I can't remember, Himmler, maybe. I can't remember who was on trial. It was one of like second in command of the Nazi army. And he was like, the only reason why I'm in this prison cell is because you won. And it's not the other way around. And it's like, that is true. Now,
Hmm.
I'm not defending the Nazis. I think what they did, the atrocities they caused, yes, were terrible. I actually just listened to a podcast about the siege of Leningrad. And basically, when you besiege the
Hmm.
city, you encircle the city and you just make so that no food or water or supplies get in. And so basically you just starve people, and how like awful that was. And these scientists had like seeds like they were keeping for the future. It was like a thing that the communists like they were doing. And instead of eating those seeds that they could use to live, they died keeping those seeds, safe or whatever. And
Hell yeah.
the Battle of Stalingrad, those battles, some of those battles were crazy. Like it just, and I don't think anybody has ever marched on Russia and defeated it. I don't. A lot of people say it's because of the winters, like the winters are so harsh.
Yeah.
I, I, I mean, see, the topic of aliens can take you
That I
so much.
believe. If you're not prepared for something like that,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
that can get nasty fast.
Well, and that's the thing about aliens is it can take you in so many different directions. You can talk about the present, you can talk about the past, you can talk about the future and what that holds. And a lot of people say
Hmm.
that it's also a theory that they're just like humans from the future that are coming here to like do stuff. And it's just like, man, I think people want something to be so
If
true that
if 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 it was humans from the future and they have already left to go somewhere else, why would they come back?
I think it would be to find
I think that
answers.
theory is bullshit.
I think it's to find answers. I think maybe it could be, if we were looking at it as like an innocent thing, it could be to prevent something from happening so they wouldn't have to leave. I mean, there's a couple theories out there, but
Yeah.
I think the one that sticks for me, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not, I haven't read massive amounts of books and stuff about this, but to me, someone who's uneducated in the matter probably shouldn't speak on it with too much authority. A layman, I guess is what you'd say. To me, the spiritual aspect stands. Now,
Retard.
I'm not a retard, but I'll tell you a story real
You
quick.
are a pivot man though.
I am not a pivot man. I take these things back. I am not in the middle of a circle jerk, sir. Do not put me on that. But I'll tell you a story.
Y'all, you were all up in arms defending you being a pivot man a
Yeah,
little
but
while
that's just
ago.
because
Now
I
you're
didn't
now
know.
you're now you're now you're going back
I
on it.
wasn't educated on it. I didn't know what it was.
Oh.
I'm not someone who knows what that means until now. So, but real quick, I'll tell you a story. This was real late at night. My mom and I were driving down this country road coming back from my grandparents, and it was really quiet. She had the
Hmm.
windows down, and I was asleep. It was quiet. And she was maybe going like 40 miles an hour, and you're not paying attention. It's okay.
Yes, I am. I'm listening. I'm messing with this little guy right here.
And
I've been messing with it this whole time. You don't even know.
she woke me up. She goes, Devin, look at this. And I look out the passenger side window, and there's this light following us, parallel to us, going just as fast as we
It's an
are.
Apache helicopter.
And she stopped the car for a second, and it was quiet and the light stopped. And it wasn't a four-wheeler, it wasn't a train, it wasn't an Apache helicopter, there was no noise. And so she just drove really
It was
fast.
an electric Apache helicopter.
Yeah, yeah. And she just drove really fast just to see. And dude, this thing kept up with us the whole time. And she did not stop. And eventually we came to a stoplight, and a stop sign, and she reversed, and the thing reversed with us. And then she just went forward.
Wild.
She just went forward, and then the thing just disappeared. Never, no, not a four
Was
wheeler.
this in West Virginia
No, this was in.
or Kentucky, wherever y'all's from?
No, well, we're from Indiana. My grandparents and stuff are all from Kentucky and Virginia. No, this was in Indiana. This was in between
Oh.
Columbia City and Cromwell. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, and it was just I mean, it would have, if it was anything, it was in the middle of a field because it was like road. You're from Indiana, especially Northeast Indiana. It's just field in the country, road, field. Like there's not
Yeah.
much there other than that. Every now
There's
and then,
not a lot of
no, and then there's sometimes you'll get like a tree line, but if they can plant there, they're going to plant. And it was just in the middle of a field. And that's the only, I guess, if you want to call it an experience, was something that we didn't see. We just saw a light. And it wasn't a car. There was no other road that was that close. It was just in the middle of a field. And my mom and I used to talk about that a lot, but that's the
Hmm.
only experience that I've had. Now, if you look up, like my uncle lived out in the country, and we would sit on the
What a
trampoline.
you got gypped. They didn't even like try to touch your butt or nothing.
No one tried to touch my butt. No one tried to touch my butt. Now we would lay on my uncle's trampoline and we would just look up the stars because you could see so much. There was no lights out there. I
Yeah,
mean, it was dark. And
right.
dude, you just see stuff moving all the time. And it could be satellites and planes. But there'd be some stuff, man, that would,
Satellites and planes mostly.
yeah. But there's some stuff, man, that would just move quick. And you would just see stuff and you're like,
Yeah,
damn, I know we never thought, oh, look, that's a
yeah.
UFO. But we were always like, wow, what is that? And, um, I really enjoyed man, it's been a long time since I've just looked at the stars. Like it really has. And it's crazy because we as humans get so comfortable and used to things that we don't like think about it. Like, dude,
It just all turns into scenery.
yeah, but like at the end of the day, if you really like, and this sounds like stoner talk, but if you like sit there and look at the stars like, whoa, whatever we are very small comparatively to
Yeah.
other things. And we are just on this ball spinning.
And we're the only ones here and we're never going anywhere.
Yeah, we're not. I have the moon landing. It's another one that I don't know, bro. I'd love to believe that we did go. And there's a lot of people that say we went and they have good evidence for it. And there's a lot of people that say we didn't go and they have good
And that
evidence for it.
also have really good evidence for it. Yeah.
I find it really weird that Stanley Kubrick filmed a fake, which is verified that he did film a fake moon landing. I find it very odd that something that didn't have the technology of an iPhone, like not the iPhone, but the technology of an iPhone that could
Yeah.
go to space
Yeah.
and go to the moon and all this stuff. I think that there's a lot of things, man, that just are weird. And
What is the radiation belt?
that too, like
Yeah.
they
That and then whoever it was several years ago, you remember from NASA was doing a press conference and was like, "Oh yeah, we totally lost all the papers and technology of that time, and we don't even know how we could if we'll ever go to the moon again." And it was like, "What do you mean you lost all the technology?
well,
You're NASA. You're the one that went there and did that."
it's funny is because when we first went to the moon, we were ahead of schedule, and now we're like almost like 20 some years behind schedule. Um,
Yeah.
they had a not a rocket, but something that basically where it descended on itself and landed again, like on the move, and it well, Elon Musk did that, and it took him
One of Elon's rockets,
yeah,
yeah.
and it took him like well, they had it then too, because that's how it landed on the moon, and then went back up as it landed on its own.
Well, but yeah.
And Elon Musk said took them.
Well, but that rocket did it on its own. And when they landed on the moon, there was a pilot in the lunar
And if you just see the lunar
whatever, the lunar
thing,
lander.
it just all looks,
It looks so chintzy.
yes. And just like Christmas ornament, like it just,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. What I like to believe,
And also, if like is why how's come there's no pictures on the internet of what's left of the lunar lander and also the flagpole that we left behind? Because the bottom half of the lunar lander didn't come back.
no.
They came back in the pod that whatever linked back up with the main rocket, and then they came home.
Well,
So the legs and the bottom half of the rocket should still be there on the moon.
so I would like to think that we did go to the moon. I would like to think so. And Buzz Aldrin did say in these papers
He
where
punched a guy in the mouth for disputing it.
yeah, he did. But Buzz Aldrin did say that he saw lights while they were on the moon that weren't like theirs. Like they saw
Yeah.
stuff there that wasn't theirs. And also if you look back, like if you look from when they left to when they came back and they were giving interviews, like sitting at like a panel basically and giving like press conferences, they look so depressed and disturbed. And
Spooked.
could it be
Yeah.
because they saw something up there that was wild? Yes. Could it be because they didn't go and they're lying to all these people? Yes. But
Yeah.
either way, again, who's on
Could it be that they were standing on the moon and saw the Earth from several 100 million miles away.
Well,
And it's like, wow,
I just think that as someone who's uneducated about the situation, haven't read again any books. I've listened to people talk about it.
I don't read
Uh,
books.
I don't know if you needed
Books is for
I
nerds.
don't know if you needed to announce that. It's almost self-explanatory. I'm joking. I do like to
I'm
read.
a truck driver. Obviously, I don't read books.
There's truck drivers that read books. I'm not a truck driver, but I read books. I like to read. Right now, I'm reading Generation Kill. It's a good book.
Mm,
Became a
yeah, I've I've heard of it
it became an HBO limited series. Very good limited series, but it's a fantastic book. I think people should give it a read. My cousin let me borrow it, and I really enjoyed this book. But yeah, man, I think all that stuff. I think if you take a deep dive into anything, I think sometimes it consumes people. You know, I know people hate on
for sure.
flat Earth. If anything, I don't necessarily think that we're just flat on an even plane. If there was a thought in my mind to think that we are flat, the only way that I could think that is flat is that we are flat this way, and then there's a dome over us. That's the only way I could think it's flat. And people like to use biblical references like the pillars of the earth, the corners of the earth. There's other things too, but
Hmm.
I don't, I don't,
What's the most convincing thing for me is like when you look out. I saw this thing where they had a camera and they were zoomed all the way in, and they could see this ship from where they were standing, and they zoomed out, and at a certain point you lose the ship below the horizon.
uh,
Because no, I lied, backwards. Like you can see the ship the entire time, but like with the naked eye, you can't see the ship because of the curvature of the earth. But somehow, with that camera zoomed all the way in, you could still see the ship, even though you couldn't see it. It was behind the horizon, but with the camera, you could see it. Same thing with lasers. Like if you shine a laser in the middle of nowhere, if you shine a laser to a certain point, if you're standing where the laser is, you won't be able to see where the laser is because of the curvature of the earth.
yeah,
But if you have, if you're shooting a target with a laser, you can go to the other end and see the laser on the target, even though,
yeah.
it's the weirdest. It's
There was a guy that took a bunch of flat
I'm not
earthers.
smart enough to figure that out.
There's a guy who took a bunch of flat earthers to Antarctica to watch the sun's rotation, and
Uh-huh.
he had a bunch of them that would, and they a lot of some of them went openly like, I just saw your name, and I think that's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. That and he got a bunch of them to
I
the
can't believe it took you this long to see it.
he got a bunch of them to denounce that they're flat earthers anymore because they got to see it the whole time.
Hmm.
And I think that I don't truly think that the earth is necessarily flat per se. I don't. I think just it's funny is that this was brought up thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, and people went to prison and stuff for questioning if the earth was flat. And then they figured out the earth was round. And now for some reason the past years, maybe a little bit longer, it's come back
Like the
around.
last 10,
Yeah,
probably.
it's come
It's
back
come
around.
back
I'm like,
around that
dude,
everybody thinks the earth is flat.
real quick, let me get into this real quick. I'm gonna do my always is true and faithful. Here's some facts. Blue whale heart. A blue whale's heart is the size of a bumper car. A human could swim through the arteries. Okay. That's
Wow.
wild. Cows have
That's some thick arteries.
yeah, cows have besties. Research show that cows have best friends and get stressed when they're not around. The current 50-star American flag was designed by a 17-year-old at school for a project, and he got a B
Hmm.
minus on it, which is
Well,
hilarious.
it was originally the teacher, if I remember right, I read that story. The teacher gave him like a D or something, hated the design, and then he submitted it to the presidential contest or whatever for the new design of the American flag.
Yeah,
And the presidential committee or whatever chose that flag, and then he took it back to the teacher and was like, all right, and gave him a whatever it was, a B.
that's yeah, and how terrible of that teacher not to give the kid an A. He was so
Yeah,
pissed.
no shit.
He felt
Oh,
so
yeah,
irritated and so pissed. He's like, you know what? No,
he had to have been so
yeah,
mad.
dude. Like,
God, just gritting his teeth. God damn it, I can't believe you went. and just out of spite gave him a B minus.
That's
Poor
hilarious.
kid.
Dude, so there's an orchestra at Boston that plays music only on vintage typewriters, which I think is cool. Let me see. Let me see. Nintendo's age. Nintendo was founded in 1889. It originally made handmade playing cards. Yeah. Morning. You're about 1 centimeter taller in the morning than you are at night because your spine decompresses while you sleep.
Gravity and such
Yeah.
while you're standing up all day, especially in this truck getting the shit kicked out of me all day.
The world's
I
only
bet I'm like 3 centimeters shorter at night.
The world's only underwater post office is in, it's not Venice, it's Vanuatu, 10 feet below the surface. Bananas are berries. Botanically, bananas are berries, but strawberries are not.
Interesting.
France was using the guillotine to execute when the first Star Wars movie was released in 1977.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The lighter came first. The cigarette lighter was invented before the match. Let's see. The space gun. You
Okay.
can fire a gun in space because there's no oxygen. The powder contained its own oxidizer, and the bullet would travel forever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Same reason you can shoot a gun underwater.
The oldest recorded goldfish lived for 43 years.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Woolly mammoths.
The parents that brought that goldfish home from the fair were so pissed.
Yeah, dude.
Had to have been.
Well, not only that, but like think about how like that person really took care of that goldfish, really fed it every day, and
Yeah.
really like, did
Every day,
everything.
kept the tank clean, did all the stuff. 44 years. That's crazy.
And then here's some wild conspiracy theories, which we can talk about in not too length. Uh, Project MK Ultra, which isn't a conspiracy, it's proven the CIA really did run a secret mind control program using LSD and sensory deprivation. Okay, so there's a guy he was over the Winter Hill Gang in Boston. My gosh, what was his name? Johnny Depp played him in a movie. Oh my gosh. And also,
I don't think I ever saw it.
let me see. I can't believe it. Whitey Bulger. Whitey Bulger and Marilyn and Charles Manson both were, and a lot of people surmise from it, but both were kind of in this MK Ultra because while they were in prison, especially Whitey Bulger in his younger years, they did LSD experiments on these prisoners. And this guy was wild. The Tuskegee syphilis study, the government spent 40 years tracking the effects of untreated syphilis in black men without their consent, even after the cure was found. Yeah,
Just for the love of the
just for the
game.
love of the game, bro. Operation Northwood, or which is called the Northwood Documents, U.S. military leaders once drafted plans to commit acts of terrorism in the United States, aka false flag operations, to justify a war with Cuba. President Kennedy rejected it. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, which kind of started to be fair, we had advisors in Vietnam, and I believe in the late 50s, mid 50s, late 50s. But the Gulf of Tonkin in 1964, an attack that escalated the Vietnam War was a largely fabricated or exaggerated by the U.S. Navy. COINTELPRO, the FBI spent decades illegally spying or infiltrating and attempting to dismantle civil rights and anti-war groups. Here's another thing is that it just got busted in the South. The Southern Poverty something, a bunch of them just got in trouble because they were giving the Southern Poverty, let me look it up real quick. Because you're gonna be like, what? Southern Poverty Law Center just got in huge trouble because they were giving money to like hate groups, like white supremacists, KKK. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, which is fucking wild. Pop culture or modern myths. Paul is dead. The theory that Paul McCartney died in 1966 was replaced by a lookalike named William Shear. There's a lot of conspiracy about that. Like on their famous cover where they're walking on like a crosswalk, the Beatles.
Yeah.
And Paul McCartney is the only one that's not wearing shoes. He's wearing a different colored suit. There's a lot of conspiracies that he died, and they're like, well, we can't replace him with anybody, like a new person. This is too much money. And so they just had to look like,
Yeah.
replace him.
That's wild.
Avril Lavigne is Melissa, a viral theory
I've heard that conspiracy.
that the real Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by a doppelganger. The dead internet theory, the idea that most people on the social media are actually bots and AI, and the real internet died years ago.
I don't believe that.
Disney's Frozen SEO. Some believe the movie Frozen was named such to bury search results about Walt Disney body being cryogenically frozen. Now
That's stupid.
the Mandela effect is one I could definitely get behind. Large groups of people remembering things
That
differently,
one, yeah.
like Bernstein or
Yeah.
Bearstein Bears, due to glitches in the Matrix. Now, I
Bernstein
don't
versus
I
Bernstein.
don't know if this is a fake thing, but someone had a phone from like 2000, the early 2000s, had a video camera on it, and they had like a video
Hmm.
of like a DVD or something, and it showed the video on the camera he had, and it said something else, and then he put the video camera of like the cell phone in 2008 to it, and it looked completely different. And not only that, but
Wild.
the Shazam movie where they said that one guy, Sebastian, wasn't in it. I believe his name's Sebastian. And he even says he wasn't in it, but people have the movie, the VHS tape of him actually playing the. And I remember watching it. I remember being him being
Yeah.
Shazam, and I remember Shaq being Shazam. The moon landing hoax, the New World Order, which isn't a joke, and I mean that's not fake. I mean, uh, Bush Senior said this is a new world order in one of his speeches. Area 51's not. Denver International Airport is wild. Just the airport is headquarters for the New World Order. I mean, they've got a lot of crazy paintings in there, like wild stuff. I mean, there's a lot. Chemtrails, I believe that. The Titanic switched.
Chemtrails are real for sure.
The Titanic switched to the Olympics. A theory the Titanic ship was sunk on purpose for insurance money. Either that or there was a lot of prominent people on that ship. I had something to do
There
with
was a lot of big names on that
it had
ship.
something to do with like the Federal Reserve or something. I can't remember. And it was sunk by that. Kurt Cobain's death. I don't think he killed himself. Not a lot of people think that man killed himself.
No.
He didn't kill himself. I mean, just the fact that he had like 18 times, that's the wrong number, but a wild amount of drugs in him that there was no way he could even function to do that.
Yeah.
Princess Diana was assassinated. A lot of people find that theory to be true. Tartaria, the recent.
There's a conspiracy theory that Michael Jackson, well, obviously he didn't kill himself, but like they had him killed because he was trying to come forward on a lot of like the Pizzagate stuff. And he was trying to bring attention to Epstein's Island, and they killed him for it. That's why a lot there's a conspiracy that they were blaming him for a lot of the stuff that they were doing. That's why all the pedophilia accusations came out, to try to ruin him, to hide what they were actually doing.
I mean, yeah.
And when he tried to bring a lot of that stuff to light, and they killed him for it.
I can believe some of that, but he also was having kids up in his bedroom and stuff. And I think that's kind of wild, the whole thing. Now,
and hanging the baby upside down over the balcony.
That was wild.
That's kind of damning.
That was wild. That was super wild.
Yeah.
Now, the missing scientist mystery. And then here's the thing. I'm not going to go into great lengths to that, but that's not only the U.S. that are missing scientists. China has a bunch of missing scientists. There's a couple of scientists that have here. Proponents, this is a theory about the dead internet theory 2.0. Proponents argue that the major LLMs, large language models, are now feeding primarily on AI-generated content rather than human input, creating a loop.
I believe that.
That is actually erasing human history and nuance. Some claims it is a deliberate move by the giant tech to control the collective memory of the public. The Great Reset and the 15-minute theories, the 15-minute theory, the 15-minute cities, urban planning projects designed to make cities more walkable. 15-minute cities.
That's a real thing.
Our secret blueprints for open-air prisons. Conspiracy theories claim the travel between zones will eventually be restricted by digital IDs and carbon credits. The octopus murders, that's a crazy one. There's a documentary on Netflix everybody should go and watch, and it's called The Octopus. And that is a crazy, it's based on the investigations of a journalist, Danny Carcello, in the early 90s. This theory posits that a secret cabal of 8 high-ranking individuals, the octopus, controlled global surveillance technologies and has ties to major political scandals from from the last 40 years. And you can listen to the friends that created this. It was a journalist and another guy. They created this documentary. And I mean, a lot of time and energy went to it, but you can listen. One of my favorite podcasts right now is called Camp Gagnon. The host, Mark Gagnon, is a
Mm-hmm.
crazy dude, a crazy, good, crazy, like good podcast host.
Gagging on these nuts.
Yep. Ha 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 ha. And so funny. And he has them on and they explain it very well. But some people should go watch that Netflix documentary. It's got like 4 or 5 parts. And dudes, I've watched it like probably 3 times. And it is such a good now Project Blue Beam, a longstanding theory is that the UN and NASA plan to use advanced holographic technology to simulate an alien invasion or second coming to establish unified global government, a unified global government. The phantom time hypothesis. This suggests that the year AD 614 to 911 never happened. Charlemagne was a fictional character and we were actually living in the 1700s, but the calendar was fabricated by the Holy Roman Empire. And predictive programming, the idea that the government or elite use movies and TV shows like The Simpsons and Black Mirror to prepare the public for future disasters so that we are less likely to resist when they happen. And I could believe that. I could believe that as well. So I know that was just a list of randomness, but I think that to me, what's really funny about all those theories and conspiracy theories and all this stuff is that people used to really hate on conspiracy theories, and now a lot of these conspiracy theories have become true. And
Conspiracy theorists are usually they've been undefeated here as of late.
I think some people have made a lot of money off being conspiracy theorists when they point in the right direction, and I think that could sometimes.
Alex Jones.
Well, Alex Jones just really screwed up about the Sandy Hook thing. He really lost his.
Yeah.
He lost his. Now,
he lost his marbles.
Yes. Now, was there some things that he was right about? Yes. He was right about. Alex Jones has been right about a lot of things. Epstein Island, he talked about 10 years before, the Bohemian Grove, all that. But I think he really lost his way with the Sandy Hook thing. And I think that those parents, I don't know. I think a big freedom of speech thing kind of comes into play with that. But I think because of Alex Jones, that those families were being harassed or being called liars, that they didn't lose their children. And I couldn't imagine that losing a child and then having
that would be awful.
Well, I couldn't imagine
having the entire internet come at you like you lying sack of shit.
Well, not
You're
even
just trying to get internet fame.
But come into your house. They had people go into their houses.
Yeah.
And could you imagine losing your child and then 2 weeks later someone come to your house and be like, "You're a liar. You're a liar." And you're like, "Dude, I just buried my child.
Where is she?"
Yeah. And you're like, well, I would lose my mind. I'd be upset
There'd be another dead body in my front yard.
Yeah, dude, because
not another dead. I said that wrong.
Okay. Wow. How many dead bodies have you got in your front yard currently? Like, Jesus.
No.
You're getting really worked up about this too. That's another one. Streamed full.
Okay, you pivot, man. Let's go back to that.
Oh, yeah.
Change the subject.
Yeah, let's change the subject. Yeah.
Gagging on these nuts.
Hauling on, I just throwing insults. Wow, you're really making a case for yourself. But no, I think that if he would have just kept his mouth shut about that one thing, which I'm sure that people advised him, like, don't do this. Please don't do this.
The Onion bought InfoWars and have just turned his whole shit into a satire page.
Well, not only that, but he's never going to have a career like he did again. Like he owes those people like billions of dollars or something, like hundreds of billions of dollars. Like he's never going to be able. And, I wonder if Alex Jones lays down at night, is like, I should have just shut up about this one thing. I could have talked about anything else, but I went into this.
I'm sure he regrets some of it. I'm sure, being as big of a conspiracy theorist as he is, I can't imagine he feels bad for at least bringing it to the light. But I'm sure he regrets like going balls deep into it.
Dude, that's one thing that I wouldn't want to bring to light. It's like, let those, like, especially with children dying, it's like, let that
Yeah,
sit.
it's regardless, it's awful.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing, and I mean, but in brighter news, I think that, like, I will say this: I think Alex Jones was entertaining. I think that in
Turning the freaking frog gay,
yeah,
which he was right about.
I think that if he I think he kind of lost his mind in all this, and I could understand why. Because all this stuff you
Yeah.
find out and you just try to tell people, and people don't take you seriously. Nothing changes.
Same thing with like Candace Owens. She's kind of going
Well, Candace
she
Owens,
ever since Charlie, she's been
she,
pretty freaking
but
crazy
she
here as
dug,
of late.
she dug her own grave on that. She said a lot of
Yeah.
things, and are there some very weird things about his death? That no, like first it was a 30-06 that killed him, and now the government's even like, well, no, it doesn't match the gun that was. And so there's a lot of
Yeah.
weird things that are going on with that. But to like totally to say some of the things she said and to lie, she got caught in a couple lies. I think she just lost her marbles. I really don't know. Like, same thing with like Dan Bilzerian, not defending the guy. The guy used to be funny. It was, entertaining to watch. And he just, I don't know, man. So I can imagine that if you're in the public light so much and you have very controversial views and you're used to like
Yeah.
people being like, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. That is true. And then that one time they're like, I don't know. And you're
The
like, no, I'm
one
not.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so,
You have a choice to make. You either back down and let it be, or like let it be and apologize like, I shouldn't have said that, or you double down and Alex Jones it.
yeah. And look where that got him. I mean,
Yeah.
and he decided to double down on,
Doubling down rarely works out.
well, doubling down on something like what he doubled down on will not work. Like,
Yeah.
will not work. And I think, like, same thing with like Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. I mean, they've lost so many viewers. They've lost so much. Dude, his numbers have went like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I used to really like Ben Shapiro.
And now it's different.
Yeah.
Everything's just so different, bro. Like the world we're living in, even 30 years ago, I'm sure nothing new under the sun, but at the same time, and it's probably the same, but there's just so much more technology, so much more information being
Hmm.
thrown out there and given, and you don't know if it's a truth or not. You don't know if it's propaganda, if it's AI, if it's
That's
this.
it. That's it right there. You can't tell, especially because AI is getting really good.
Yeah, it's learning.
It's spooky how good AI is getting. Like I mean, I can usually tell, but like you see the comments on AI, obviously AI videos of people that they're either also AI bots, or they're real people that are totally sucked into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, you can't tell unless you're actually clicking on people's profiles to see if they're real or not,
Yeah. Well,
you know?
even like
Because
music.
if you're just scrolling comments, you see 100 people that are, or 1,000 people that are all like, yeah, go get them. And it's clearly a fake video.
Yeah. Well,
It's like if people are, and then a lot of them's real people that just have no idea. Like there's AI has completely ruined the people's trust in the content that they absorb, because you'll see videos that are clearly real, or I follow this page that all they do is like old timey cartoony Acme type like they're it's real, and they're really good at editing and CGI,
yeah.
but the comments are full of, oh, this is AI, this isn't real, this is AI, and it's like, no, that's actually somebody sitting behind a computer making this for you, trying their damnedest to make good content, and you're completely discrediting them because you don't believe it, because AI has totally ruined your critical thinking skills.
Yeah. Music is a big one. People are really up in arms, artists up in arms because AI is making music and it's pretty good. And you
Yeah,
can't tell the
and a
difference.
lot of it you can't tell.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
no.
So I just, AI, I think that is going to eventually come to a head. I think that it will have to. I think that um like they
One, every time I see, like, I'm sure that they're building them EMP proof, but a good, strong, localized EMP right over, I fucking hate solar farms with my entire being. Every time I see a solar farm, I just want to bomb it. But solar farms and AI data centers,
yeah.
a good, just one good EMP over any of that,
This is
and the world would be a lot better place.
this is really random, but did you see in Mobile, Alabama, where there was this dam where they found an IED against the dam and they had to send a bomb squad because somebody put a bomb next to the dam and was going to blow this
Oh
thing. And it
no.
was holding back like billions of gallons of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't hear about
That
that.
just happened like 3 days ago, 4 days ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah. They just found it.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. But,
Domestic terrorism
well, or terrorism
or regular
yeah, or
terrorism,
just regular terrorism. Not domesticated.
global
Yeah, global
terrorism.
terrorism. But, dude, I think that,
Probably one of them fighting age Iranians that
yeah,
come across the southern border in 2020.
yeah. But they did a simulation with like different AIs and it was like a war simulation. Like if you were a country, what would you do kind of thing? And it
Hmm.
never chose to surrender and always throw a nuke every time. They ran like 100 or
Hell
multiple.
yeah. Hell yeah,
And
brother.
it was just like, we're never losing America bots. We're American AI. We just throw them. And there's conspiracy theories that nukes aren't real, that nukes aren't real at all.
I doubt that.
But, well, in China, there was,
I used to work for a guy. Well, the guy that I was working for in Missouri years ago. His dad remembers when he was, I don't know, maybe he was a kid. Anyway, it was right after the Cold War, and we decommissioned a bunch of nuclear silos across the country. He remembers because like the control cables, utilities, underground
yeah,
situations that go to the silo ran right under or either right under the property or right next to the property that he lived on. Actually, a family farm where I worked. He said, I remember white men. Now he couldn't remember if they were American or Russian showing up in all black suits, black SUVs. They were driving around the county because there was a nuclear silo not too far in the middle of, like, smack dab in the middle of Missouri where I was at, to make sure that it wasn't like destroyed, but like the communication cables were severed,
yeah.
and that specific silo was decommissioned. So, I mean, I don't believe that for sure. The like nuclear warheads are real.
Well, it's funny because in China, I don't know if it was this year or last year, there was like silos that they said that there were nukes in, and it was found out it was just filled with water. There actually weren't any nukes in there. And then there's this guy who talked about like how sometimes it's happened multiple times where like they'll have radars and there'll just be a bunch of blimps all of a sudden pop on this radar, and they're like, Russia just or China just threw a bunch of nukes at us, and like, what do we do? And like they're debating, and then someone finds out, no, it's just a flock of birds. And so, like, how untrustworthy sometimes that can be. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
that's crazy.
yeah, I think mutual assured destruction is like a good thing because it keeps everybody at bay. Cause, like, okay, if you launch yours, we're going to launch
Yeah,
ours. And then everybody,
we're gonna launch ours,
the
and
whole
then
world.
everybody else sees them.
Yeah.
Everybody else sees that these two countries have launched nukes. Well, we got to launch ours just in case.
Yeah. And then everybody dies, literally everybody.
Yeah,
And then there's two people and they're both
yeah.
dudes,
And
live
the people that don't,
and they're all
and
okay.
the people that don't die will shortly after because of the nuclear fallout.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but man, I'm tired. I've had a long day, and I know it's a shorter
I am
podcast,
too.
but I'm
I worked
tired.
I worked 70 hours this week.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's wild.
I farted.
That's hot. I'm super hot. But yeah, man, I'm good. I hope everybody enjoyed our conversation. I hope everybody has a good week. And thank you, Colton, for your time. I know you're exhausted. I appreciate you doing this with me. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one, the next go around. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy yourselves. We'll see you later.
See ya.